Welcome, Seekers of Wisdom, to another edition of Ewok the Wise. Yes, we are here. Now, today we're going to talk about the 9 realms of the cosmos. Heard of them? Cool. Not heard of them? Still cool. Today we're going to break it down and we're going to show how they actually exist. Now, I'm going to warn you, fair warning, this video is going to run a little bit long. Originally, when I started writing the script for this, because yes, I do write scripts for this, I was going to cover everything to do with the realms in one video, and well, that's not happened. This is probably going to be about a 4-part series because I went in very deep rabbit hole. Yeah. But before all of that, let's have a word from our sponsors. Now, I say sponsors, but we're new, so we don't actually have one. Instead, I'm going to tell you about our favourite charity, Operation Florence. Formed by a lovely bunch of ex and currently serving healthcare and emergency service personnel who see the declining funding and gaps in capability as a real problem, they're working to build a volunteer-based emergency medical rescue and healthcare service that they hope will one day have locations across the country. But to do this, they need funding. I know it's kind of ironic, but there it is. But they're awesome and we want to help them. So if you could spare £3 once or monthly, added to your phone bill, you can donate by text, or if you prefer, you can even donate by PayPal. You can even donate more than £3 or nothing at all. It's entirely up to you. Details of how you can donate or not, or how to find out more about these amazing people, will be pinned in the description below. Let's get into it and potentially blow some minds, shall we? Now, when I started writing the script for this video, I fully intended for it to be one video giving an overview of the realms of the cosmos. But then I went down a rabbit hole. For those of you who know me, you will know that this is nothing new for me, but alas, there it is. So this is probably going to be a 3 or 4-part series. I'm pretty certain it's going to be a 4-parter. But why the rabbit hole? Well, here's the thing. In the Norse world, you'll hear the term 9 realms referenced heavily. It's everywhere in modern Norse pagan culture. Indeed, whether you're new to Norse lore or have been around it for a while, I guarantee that you will at least be familiar with a symbol that depicts the 9 realms of our cosmos, the Valknut. Wrongly and surreptitiously affiliated to neo-Nazism thanks to a certain weirdly moustached dictator called Hitler and his political party, the Nazi Party, who frankly stole symbols from a few religions, but mostly Norse pagans, and gave them some rather nasty affiliations. But I digress. Maybe I'll cover that in another video, we'll see. But the point is that you will know of it, or at least seen it, and probably thought that it looks cool. The Valknut, among other things, is symbolic of the interconnection of the 9 realms of our cosmos. And I say interconnectivity for a reason. All of our realms are connected by Yggdrasil, colloquially known as the World Tree. Now, this is our first clue to the existence of the realms, because it isn't just Norse pagans that allude to and indeed affirm the existence of Yggdrasil, is it? Nope. Indeed, you'll find references to Yggdrasil referred to by its common name of the World Tree in many religions. In fact, a quick Google search will tell you that it is referred to by all of the Abrahamic religions. So that's your Christians, your Catholics, your Jews, and Islam, as well as Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, and Native Americans. So I think that means that I can say that we are all in agreement. Yggdrasil exists. Even if you want to call her the World Tree, she's there. Moving on, we can say that Yggdrasil is there, but what of the 9 realms? Well, we can definitely say that one of them exists. We're living on it, Midgard. So let's take a look at the realms and then I'll show you how science actually has the answer for us. Breaking this down, we know that the realms exist thanks to our own scripture. There are references across the lore, most notably in Völuspá, the first of the Poetic Edda, Valfrönismal, an account of conversations between Odin and Valfrönir, and finally the Gylfaginning saga, which is found in the Prose Edda, yet no concise list of the realms is ever given. Indeed, the list of 9 realms was actually collated across time by a number of scholars that have cobbled it together through different sections of scripture. Yet there's only 2 references to the realms being numbered 9, and it's probably not what you think. Now, the first reference comes from Völuspá stanza 2. I remember 9 worlds, 9 giantesses, the famous Yggdrasil beneath the earth. The second comes from Valfrönismal, stanza 43. About the secrets of giants and of all gods, I can tell the truth, because I have come to each world. I came to 9 worlds beneath Niflheim. There is a third reference that mentions having been to the ninth realm also, but that doesn't mention how many there are before or after. What does this tell us? Well, it tells us that there are 9 realms under Niflheim, 9 realms that are connected to Yggdrasil, 9 realms that are under the influence or dominion of the gods. I appreciate that the word dominion can seem rather nasty, so I'll give you the definition. Dominion literally means sovereignty or control. So what I'm saying here is that the 9 realms we have listed through the cobbling of the law are simply the sovereign realms of the gods. The Aesir, the Ascendir, and the Vanir. That's it. That's what I'm saying. So let's just put a pin in that for now and get into the realms we know of, shall we? First on the list we have, of course, Asgard, the realm of the Aesir. The clan of the Aesir form most of what we refer to as the gods. Asgard being their home is also home to many of the halls of the gods, including the most well-known, Valhalla, Odin's hall of the honourable fallen who become Einherjar, soldiers of Asgard who train eternally for Ragnarok. Then we have Midgard, the realm of the humans, where we live. Created by Odin, Villian V for us at the time of creation. Detailed in my last video. Give it a watch if you haven't already, you'll like it. Moving on, we have Jotunheimer, the land of the Jotuns, sometimes referred to as giants, but I think we can all agree that this is a mistranslation since, well, all of the Aesir are descended from Jotun and we're made to look like them, and well, other than a few people I've met, we're not giants. I'm digressing again. Anyways, we then have Vanheimer, the land of the Vanir, who, from the remaining part of what we know, are the gods. The Vanir are more known for their influence over fertility and growth. Alfheimer, the land of the Light Elves, often aiding us with fertility, healing, land and magic. And Svartalfheimer, the land of the Dark Elves, sometimes referred to as dwarves, master craftsmen, and the creators of many articles now used by the gods themselves. Muspelheim, the land of fire, home of Surtur, who was prophesied to march on Asgard at the time of Ragnarok. And of course Niflheim, the land of ice. And then last but certainly not least, we have Helheim, home of Hela herself, and often referred to as the land of the dead. But that's also not quite true, but we'll get to that in a future video. Now, I say last, but it's not really, because, well, that's the list you will get if you go searching around the 9 realms. The realms, you see, well, they have a few twists. The first of these twists is simple. It's another list of realms. Literally. The first on this list falls squarely. The word Heim translates to realm. And here we have Frudheim. This is a world of strength and integrity governed by thought. The others, well, they are considered realms by many. Indeed, we often refer to the realms of the afterlife, one of which is Helheim, which appears in our list of 9. But in addition, we have Valhalla, Folkvanger, and Hillisey. We do, of course, have the gods' halls, which some consider to be realms, but I feel that is in fact a stretch. Although I concede that Valhalla is a hall and a realm of the afterlife. However, we do also have some interesting additions. Yes, we do. Found in Skald's Gappermaul, stanza 69, we have 9 heavens stacked above Asgard. First we have Vindblane, Wind Dark, then Andlanger, extended. Then we have Verdblane, Wide Dark, Viafadmir, Wide Embracer, Hjorda, which means Coverer, Hjörna, which means Twinlit, Gimir, which means Fiery or Jeweled. Then we have Vetmimir, which is Winter Mimir. And then finally, we have Skatnurda, Rich Wetter. Given all of this, we can conclude simply the 9 realms are just as we thought. The 9 realms are sovereignty of our gods and indeed answer a question that scientists have pondered for many, many years. Yes, there is life elsewhere in the universe. I mean, how can there not be? Now that we have all of that settled, let's take a look at how this all stacks for us. How are the 9 realms that we exist in situated? Fact is, in a lot of ways, we don't actually know. There's little to no information on exactly how the realms are placed in and around Yggdrasil. The only things we know as fact are that they A, exist, and B, at one point, Muspelheim and Niflheim were nestled up against Ginnungagap, which sparked the creation. Over the years, many scholars have attempted to map the realms. Indeed, there are a plethora of artistic depictions showing the realms in a form of order, usually showing Asgard at the top and Helheim at the bottom, you know, like heaven and hell. I mean, I'm sure these depictions haven't been influenced by anything at all. I mean, there are some that show them in different mixes, but we don't know that any of them are accurate. But all of these depictions agree on one thing, that all the realms exist and they're all interconnected by Yggdrasil. But they lack one thing, in my humble opinion, that being an open mind, a mind willing to look at what is actually before us and understand that just because we can't see something with a naked eye doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't exist. See, that's the real problem with modern human conditioning. Yet it's something that every child has, the ability to see through the minutiae of human existence. The first thing here that we need to grapple with is Yggdrasil herself. We know that Yggdrasil is a tree, but that doesn't mean to say that she is a tree like you see in your back garden or in the woods. But that's what our mind automatically goes to, isn't it? That's what she looks like in all of these depictions. But how can she if she's a tree that stretches through the cosmos, right? Fact is that we can assert that Yggdrasil exists. All religions and faiths agree on this, and we know that a tree is something that is perennial, has a trunk and branches, and is self sustaining, yet supports life itself. But we have to accept that we just can't see Yggdrasil ourselves. Then, of course, we have the realms themselves. See, there's debate on this too. We know that we have a list of the realms that have been collated through our law, but that's all we really have. Sure, some of that detail in the law gives us information on positioning, but that is all we have, isn't it? See, a lot of the debate centers around where everything actually is rather than does it actually exist, whilst others suggest that there are, in fact, realms that we don't know about or are loosely referenced in other parts of Norse law, but don't make it onto any list. In some regards, that is one of the greatest yet most frustrating things about Norse law. Some say that we don't know enough. I say that it requires you to look past minutiae and listen to the ancestors. Either way, we have room for interpretation. I promised you at the beginning of this video that I was going to blow your mind. Well, we're getting to that part, so get ready. See, if we exist that we can't see Yggdrasil, which I think is a given since no one has ever come across a giant ass tree like Jack and the Beanstalk, we can discern that there are many things that just aren't as they seem to the naked eye or human interpretation. Accepting that leads us to the answers that have always been in front of us. Fact is that we know that there are other planets in our cosmos. We have scientists that have listed them. We can see some of them with simple telescopes, or indeed all of them if we use a not so simple, rather expensive telescope and happen to work for a space agency. We know that there are in fact 8 planets in our solar system, including us, yet we have a list of 9 realms, don't we? But whoever said a realm had to be its own separate planet? Indeed, we use the word realm today in modern human society. It's a word that describes an area or an empire, doesn't it? This is where I think that things get really interesting, because if we take what we know, all of a sudden we have a cosmos that fits what we know and have before us. This is where I think that things get really interesting, because if we take what we know, all of a sudden we have a cosmos that fits what we know and have before us. Taking the word realm as we know it, let's revisit our list for a second, because I think we have some realms that share the same planet. And I will say this, I am not the only one. In fact, there are indeed some intelligent scholar types that have been arguing over one of these for some time. We'll do that one first. Niflheimer and Helheim. Well, these are thought to be the same place, or rather Helheim is thought to be a realm within the realm, or planet of Niflheim. And I agree on that. In fact, so does our law, which is why I get very confused by there being any debate on it in the first place. We know from Gylfaginning that Odin sent Hela to Niflheim and gave her the task of ruling there a realm for the dead. So the debate here confuses me. I'm going to be honest, I am so confused by there being any debate whatsoever. Yet we can say that Helheim is a realm within the realm of Niflheim. And there's a theory that I share with someone much more well versed with Norse law than me, but I didn't actually know we shared it until we started talking about it. That Svartalheim and Alfheim are actually both realms within the planet or realm of Vanaheim. Now, the reason for that is that, in actual fact, the Vanir elves, or what we know of today as elves, referenced quite well by J.R.R. Tolkien in The Lord of the Rings. Good books, by the way. So, given this, you're all probably doing the maths and realising that makes 6 planets, not 8. Don't worry, we're getting there. Now, if we take a look at what we know of as the planets in our cosmos, we can definitely define two of them straight off the bat. Uranus is known as the ice giant. We know that Niflheim is a land of ice and mist. Interesting. Almost as though Uranus is probably Niflheim, isn't it? Then we have Venus, on the other hand, is the hottest planet of our solar system, according to NASA, almost as though it's a land of fire. Like Muspelheim, maybe? Yeah. Interestingly, Uranus and Venus are positioned on opposite sides of the Earth, exactly how they would be following, creation. Just saying. We of course know that Earth is Midgard, and I realise that I can't sit here and definitively say exactly which realm is which planet. No one can. No one alive, anyways, and I realise that I have made the list of 9 realms to be 6 planets, not 8. But there's more, of course there is. I mean, I did say earlier that there were twists, right? See, firstly, there's more than 8 planets in our solar system. In fact, there used to be 9. Pluto was considered a planet until NASA decided it wasn't big enough. Indeed, Pluto is now on a list of dwarf planets of our solar system. And yes, I said list because there's 5 of them. Pluto, Eris, Ceres, Makemake, and Haumea. So now that makes 13 planets in our solar system. And I'm sure that now some of you are sat there saying, well, that's it. It's all wrong. It doesn't fit. But see, there's another twist. When we were going through the list of the realms, you notice how they all ended Heim or Heimer? Well, see, Heim literally means realm. Plural of Heim is Heimer, meaning more than one. Now, a few are often listed as Heimer as plural, meaning that there is more than one realm, more than one of them. Jotunheimer, Vanaheim, and Niflheimer. Now, with Vanaheim and Niflheimer, it's not too often that they are listed that way, so I'm not stating that as fact. Rather, just to be considered. But Jotunheimer, well, that one's really consistent. It's really consistent throughout the lore. So that's one that we can be sure of. Given that, well, it's easy to see how it all fits into the solar system, isn't it? Yeah. 6 planets of 9 realms of our dominion, our sovereignty under our gods, extended by an unknown number, because we know that Jotunheimer at least is plural, and more than one of them. And of course, we have the 9 heavens as listed in Scouts Club now, 68. Well, I would suggest that this is probably only one planet, I'm going to be honest. The interesting thing, though, is this. Our ancestors, all of those thousands of years ago, before telescopes, before computers and science and all of that stuff, listed 9 realms and 9 heavens before anyone had ever said that there's other planets in our solar system and that we can see them with a telescope. They listed them. All 9 realms, all 9 heavens, all of them. I know I have given you a theory of how I think they stack up, and that may or may not be accurate, but for anyone that doubts it and points saying, well, if you're wrong and they are all planets of their own, well, you know what? You could be right. And until a few years ago, Pluto was a planet, and it's only scientists that say it's not, so it still fits to our solar system. And of course, there will be those that point out that no life has been found on these planets. But if we can't see Yggdrasil, what's there to say that we would see that other life? Nothing. So there you have it, wisdom seekers, the realms, in a nutshell, fitting in our cosmos. Who'd have thunk it? So, like I said earlier on, this is part 1 of probably what's going to be a 4-part series. So keep an eye on the channel. The other parts will be coming out, and I am actually going to go into the realms, what they are, who's there, the halls, the whole shebang. So if you like what we're doing here, like, share, subscribe, keep an eye out for the other parts. Yeah, until next time, boys and girls.